when I would disciple brothers especially back in my home church in Chicago, uh, one of the things that I would do is when they begin to grow in the faith, I would encourage them to look for other dudes in the faith, or look for other men who just came into church, for them to be you know how to do it, because I just did it with you.
What is up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Shaping the Culture. Now, let's just get to it. The whole secular sacred divide. There is no distinction in the scriptures. Some of us have trust issues with God, and some of us, it's like, does God really got us? You can't engage the culture with the gospel that first has not engaged you. Like, you know how people are like, oh, that's just who I am. Nah.
Keep. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Shaping the code.
So, I'm a worship director at this church, and one of the ways that I disciple, people is them being on my team, and that's how I have connection with people and have connection with their lives. And so, I guess my question is, what are the best practices to make a discipleship community? Lulu, turn the gate off. That's why it keeps going off. What are some of the ways to make a discipleship community, but also how do you do that when you also have a team that's serving in the church? Does that make sense?
Oh, you said a team that's serving in the church?
Yeah, because sometimes in church, we come to church, we either receive or we're serving in church, but sometimes there's a discipleship disconnect. And although our church, we have discipleship opportunities and stuff like that, but how do you what are some of the best practices to make a discipleship culture, I guess, within what's also there in the church?
Yeah. I think it honestly starts with leadership. I think that if the leadership doesn't model a discipleship culture, I don't think the church is going to model it. And it doesn't mean that if your leaders don't do it, you're in a bad church. I think that if you feel like that's lacking, I think going to your leadership and saying, man, I feel like we need to develop more of a discipleship culture. But also too, I think that if you feel called to do it, I feel like modeling it will be good. Not only that, I think the powerful thing about discipleship is when you disciple someone. When I would disciple brothers especially back in my home church in Chicago, one of the things that I would do is when they begin to grow in the faith, I would encourage them to look for other dudes in the faith, or look for other men who just came into church, for them to be you know how to do it, because I just did it with you, right? And so you know how to show people how to read the Bible. You know how to let people shadow you. You know how to invite people in your life because you've seen them model. And so I think that we really just have to do it, right? I think people are not going to believe that they can do it, or even believe that they need it, until they see it modeled. And so going to your leadership and telling your leadership, man, I really think that we need to have more of a discipleship culture. And even, you being the catalyst, the voice to, kind of lead that thing, whether that's starting local Bible studies. I don't know if you guys do that outside of church. But yeah, just being in each other's lives. I've had situations where I've seen best friends come into church together. One grew more than the other. He saw discipling his best friend. You know what I'm saying? It happens. And so I just think that it has to be modeled first.